The blue-skinned alien named Kreltax stared at the medical scans with 4 worried eyes. Nothing in his 50 years as science officer made sense of what he was seeing. The patient, once a healthy mining worker, now lay strapped to the bed. His skin had turned a sickly gray, his movements were wrong. And worst of all, he had tried to bite 3 medical staff. "How does the infection spread?" asked Commander Vex, the military leader of the Nexus Prime colony. "We don't know," said Kreltax, his voice low. "We have never seen anything like this before. The affected colonists show no brain activity in the higher thinking areas, yet they move. They attack. They ... He paused. "They try to eat other Zalaxians." "Commander." Vex turned to the observation window. Inside the room, 20 similar patients pulled against their restraints. One had broken free and now pounded against the thick glass, leaving smears of blue blood. "How many cases?" asked Vex. 100 confirmed. The reports are coming in from all sectors of the colony. The commander's communication device buzzed. The voice of a panicked security officer filled the room. "Sir, they've broken through in Sector 7. We can't hold them back." Vex made the hardest decision of his career. "Contact the homeworld. We need help beyond our understanding." Far away. On Earth, Dr. Olivia Martinez sipped her coffee while reviewing lab results. Her small office at the Centers for Disease Control was filled with research papers on rare diseases. A photo on her desk showed her in a hazmat suit, smiling despite the danger of her work. Her phone rang. The caller ID showed a government number. "Doctor." Martinez speaking. "Doctor, this is Major Samuel Daniels. Your expertise is needed immediately." "A car is already on its way to pick you up," Olivia frowned. "What's this about?" "Not over the phone? All I can say is it involves your research on containment protocols for the Denver incident." Olivia's hand tightened around her coffee mug. The Denver incident had been officially reported as a terrorist attack 3 years ago. Only a few people knew the truth, that it had actually been a small-scale outbreak of something that should only exist in horror movies. "I'll be ready," she said. 2 hours later, Olivia sat in a secure meeting room at a military base. Across from her was Jack Thompson, a man with short brown hair and a scar across his left cheek. His expression was serious as he nodded at her. "Dr. Martinez, good to meet you finally. I read your paper on the Denver pathogen, and you're the Marine who helped contain it," she replied. She had seen his name in classified reports. The door opened and Major Daniels walked in. He was tall with dark skin and a perfectly pressed uniform. Behind him walked a woman in a business suit. "This is Miss Peterson from the State Department," Daniels said. "What we're about to discuss doesn't officially exist." Miss Peterson placed a folder on the table. 12 hours ago, an alien spacecraft entered Earth orbit. They're called Zalaxians, and they've been watching us for decades. They've never made direct contact until now because they were waiting for us to develop further. But something has forced their hand. She pushed a button, and a screen on the wall lit up. It showed a video of blue-skinned aliens moving through a futuristic city. Then the video changed to show different aliens, ones with gray skin who moved strangely, attacking the blue ones. "My God," whispered Olivia. "They look like zombies," Jack finished. "They have a zombie outbreak." Major Daniels nodded. "The Zalaxians have no concept of zombies. They've never had a major disease outbreak in their recorded history. Their immune systems evolved differently than ours. They're completely unprepared for this. Why come to us?" asked Jack. "Their technology is clearly more advanced." Miss Peterson smiled slightly. "Because somehow they discovered that we've dealt with this before. Small outbreaks, always contained, always kept secret from the public. But we have experience they don't. They're asking for our help," said Daniels. "And the president has agreed. We're sending a team of specialists to their colony world to help contain the outbreak." Jack leaned forward. "You want us to go to another planet to fight zombies?" "You've both seen this before. You survived Denver," said Daniels. "We need people who won't panic when they see the impossible." Olivia's mind raced through the implications. Their biology is different. The pathogen might work differently in their systems. That's why we need you, Doctor, said Miss Peterson. You're the best at understanding how these things mutate and adapt. 2 days later, Olivia and Jack stood with 3 other specialists on a landing pad. The night sky above them suddenly brightened as a silver ship descended. It was smooth and elegant, nothing like the clunky rockets humans built. I never thought I'd leave Earth, said Olivia quietly. Jack checked his tactical gear. I never thought I'd see zombies again. Yet here we are. The ship landed without a sound. A door opened in its side, and a ramp extended to the ground. A tall, blue-skinned alien walked down. He wore what looked like a formal uniform with symbols Olivia couldn't understand. I am Ambassador Zendra, the alien said in perfect English. On behalf of the Zalaxian people, I thank you for answering our call for help. Jack stepped forward. We'll do everything we can, but we need to know what we're dealing with. The ambassador's 4 eyes blinked sadly. Our colony on Nexus Prime sent out an emergency signal 8 days ago. The latest reports show over 30% of the population is infected. They are not dead, yet they attack the living. They spread their condition through bites and fluid contact. Olivia felt a chill despite the warm night. Do you have samples of the pathogen? Yes, Doctor. Our scientists have been unable to identify its origin. It seems to target the neural pathways in a way we have never encountered. The ambassador gestured to the ship. Time is critical. Each day, thousands more join the ranks of the infected. As they walked up the ramp, Jack whispered to Olivia, "Funny, isn't it? They have ships that can cross the stars, but they're coming to us for help with zombies." Not funny, Olivia replied. Just proof that nightmares can find anyone, anywhere. Inside the ship, they were shown to private quarters. Through a window, Olivia watched Earth grow smaller as they left orbit. She wondered if she would ever see her home again, or if some alien zombie would be the last thing she ever saw. But as fear threatened to overwhelm her, she remembered the faces of the people she had saved in Denver. She had stopped an outbreak. Once. She could do it again, even on another world. The ship accelerated, and the stars became streaks of light as they headed toward Nexus Prime and the battle waiting for them there. The Zalaxian ship called Stellar Horizon moved through space faster than any human vessel ever built. Inside, Olivia Martinez tried to steady her breathing as she looked at the stars streaking by outside her window. The journey to Nexus Prime would take 3 weeks, even with the alien technology that bent space around them. Jack Thompson entered the room carrying 2 cups of a blue liquid. The aliens call this Sora. Tastes like mint tea with honey. Thought you could use a drink. Olivia accepted the cup gratefully. Thanks. How are the others doing? Grace is practicing with the alien weapons. Alan is learning about their containment systems. Kevin is driving the aliens crazy with questions about their biology. Jack sat down across from her. And you? I'm studying their medical data on the outbreak. She pulled up images on a tablet the Zalaxians had given her. It's familiar but different. The infection moves faster in their bodies than in humans. Because they have no natural immunity, Olivia nodded. Their immune systems never faced anything like this before. Their medical history shows almost no infectious diseases. They evolved without many of the threats humans faced. A soft chime sounded, and the door slid open. Ambassador Zendra entered with another Zalaxian who wore what looked like a lab coat. Dr. Martinez, Mr. Thompson, this is Chief Medical Officer Zelvira, said the ambassador. She has been studying the samples from Nexus Prime. The female Zalaxian bowed slightly. I hope I am not interrupting. Not at all, said Olivia. Have you found anything new? Zelvira placed a crystal on the table, and a 3-dimensional image appeared above it. This is the pathogen as we first identified it 2 weeks ago. She waved her hand, and the image changed. And this is from samples taken 3 days ago? Jack leaned forward. It's changing, yes, said Zelvira. It is adapting rapidly. But there's something else. She looked uncomfortable. We found traces of biological markers that match those in your human database. A heavy silence filled the room. Olivia looked at Jack, then back at the aliens. Are you saying this infection contains elements from Earth? Ambassador Zendra's four eyes blinked slowly. We believe the pathogen was engineered using both Salaxian and Earth biological components. It could not have occurred naturally. Jack's face hardened. Someone created this weapon deliberately. How could Earth biology get to your colony? Asked Olivia. We do not know, said the ambassador. Our people have observed Earth for decades, but direct contact was forbidden until now. Over the next few days, the human team trained with the Zalaxians. Grace Williams, a combat medic with short red hair and steady hands, taught the alien security forces how to fight in close quarters without getting bitten. Alan Reeves, tall and thin with dark skin, worked on adjusting their containment protocols for the infected. Dr. Kevin Phillips, with his round glasses and excited energy, spent hours with Salaxian scientists comparing notes on biology. Jack led tactical drills showing the aliens how to secure buildings and create safe zones. Your weapons are more advanced than ours, but the principles are the same, he told them. Aim for the head. Never let them get close. Always have an escape route. One evening, as the ship moved through the darkness between stars, Olivia made a discovery. She rushed to find Jack, who was eating with Grace in the ship's dining area. I found something, she said, placing her tablet on the table. Look at this genetic sequence, Grace leaned in. That's not natural. No, said Olivia. It's engineered to target specific neural pathways in Zalaxian brains. But the delivery method, the way it spreads, that's similar to experimental viral vectors developed on Earth. By who? Asked Jack. There were rumors, Olivia said quietly, about a research project that went dark after Denver. They were studying the pathogen, looking for military applications. Grace shook her head. You think someone from Earth did this? Why? Before Olivia could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. The humans rushed to the command center, where Zalaxian crew members moved quickly between stations. Ambassador Zendra looked grim. We have received a final transmission. From Nexus Prime? On a large screen, the face of a male Zalaxian appeared. His skin was pale and blood ran from a wound on his face. Behind him, other aliens ran back and forth and distant screams could be heard. This is Commander Vex of Nexus Prime Colony. The infection has spread to all sectors. Central Dome security has been breached. The infected now move in groups, showing hunting behavior. He looked off-screen as a loud crash sounded. They're breaking through the Central Dome. If anyone receives this... burn it all. Don't let this spread to other worlds. The screen went dark. Silence filled the command center. Alan was the first to speak. How many people were in the colony? 40,000, said the ambassador quietly. Kevin stepped forward. We need to know what we're flying into. Do you have satellite imagery of the colony? A Zalaxian officer touched controls and new images appeared on the screen. The colony consisted of several large domes connected by tunnels. Many sections showed damage. Outside the protective domes, figures moved across the surface of the planet. Those, are the infected, said Zelvira. They should not be able to survive the atmosphere, yet they do. Jack studied the images. They're gathering at the airlock entrances. They're organized. That's not like any zombie behavior I've ever seen or read about, said Grace. Olivia felt cold fear settle in her stomach. This isn't just an infection. Whatever this is, it's more intelligent than it should be. Ambassador Zendra faced the humans. We will arrive at Nexus Prime in 2 days. The High Council has authorized a rescue mission for any survivors, but if the situation cannot be contained... His voice trailed off. They'll destroy the colony, finished Jack. Burn it all, just like the commander said. Olivia looked at the images of the planet that would soon be their battlefield. We need to be prepared for anything. This isn't like Denver or any other outbreak on Earth. The pathogen is evolving. That night, none of the humans slept well. Jack checked and rechecked his equipment. Grace prepared medical kits. Alan reviewed containment plans. Kevin studied Zalaxian biology late into the night, and Olivia stared at the ceiling of her room, wondering if they were flying toward their deaths and if somewhere on Earth Someone was waiting to hear that their plan had worked perfectly. As the stellar horizon approached Nexus Prime, the ship received no response to its calls. The colony remained silent, a dead city on a distant world, waiting for them. The dropship shook as it entered the atmosphere of Nexus Prime. Jack Thompson checked his weapon one last time, then looked at the 4 other humans and the 6 Selaxian security officers with them. Everyone wore protective suits designed to prevent bites and scratches. Remember the plan, Jack said. We secure the administration building first, set up a base of operations, then begin search and rescue. Stay together, watch your corners, and don't take chances. Olivia Martinez sat beside him, a case of scientific equipment strapped to her back. The sensors show minimal movement in the landing zone, but that could change once we're on the ground. The Zelaxian pilot called back, 30 seconds to landing. Through the viewports, they could see the colony below. Nexus Prime had been built with 5 large domes connected by enclosed tunnels. Now several domes showed damage. The largest central dome had a huge crack along one side. The ship touched down on a landing pad near the administration building. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the doors opened and the team moved out in formation. Weapons ready, the air smelled wrong, a mix of chemicals and decay. The normally bright lights of the colony flickered, creating moving shadows that made everyone nervous. Main entrance is clear, said Alan, who led the front group. No signs of movement. They moved into the administration building, securing each room as they went. The inside told a story of panic and last stands. Furniture had been pushed against doors. Walls showed scratch marks and blue blood stains. But there were no bodies. Where is everyone? Whispered Grace. Kevin pointed to the security station. Let's check the cameras. They powered up the system, and screens showed different areas of the colony. Most showed empty corridors and rooms, but some displayed groups of infected Selaxians, wandering or standing still as if waiting for something. Look at their behavior, said Olivia. They're not mindless. They move with purpose. A Zelaxian security officer named Trell pointed to one screen. That's the science labs. There might be survivors there. It has separate power and air systems. Jack nodded. We'll check it out. First, we secure this building as our base. They spent the next hour setting up defenses. Alan created safe rooms with reinforced doors. Grace established a medical area. Olivia began setting up her equipment to study samples they would collect. As Jack and Kevin prepared to lead a team to the science labs, Olivia made a discovery from the colony's computer records. Look at this, she called to the others. 3 weeks before the outbreak, a mining team discovered something buried deep under the surface. They brought it back for study. The screen showed images of an ancient-looking container with strange markings. According to the reports, it was estimated to be over 20,000 years old. What was inside it? Asked Jack. They don't say, Olivia replied. But the timing matches the first infection cases. Kevin adjusted his glasses. We need to find that container. It might be the source. Jack divided the team. Kevin, you and Grace go with Trell and 2 others to the science labs. Look for survivors and any information about that container. Olivia, Alan, and I will go with the rest to the mining administration building. There might be records of where they took it. Before they left, Olivia checked the building's water system. The infection might have spread through the water. Don't drink anything from the colony systems. The teams moved out separately. Kevin's group headed toward the science complex through a long tunnel connecting the domes. Jack's team took a different route toward the mining facilities. Kevin, Grace, and their Zelaxian companions moved carefully. The tunnel lights flickered, creating moving shadows. Water dripped from ceiling pipes. Grace kept her medical scanner running, checking for life signs. I'm picking up movement ahead, she whispered. They stopped and listened. Shuffling sounds came from around the corner. Trell signaled for them to take defensive positions. 3 infected Selaxians appeared, their once blue skin now gray and peeling. They moved with jerky steps but showed coordination. When they spotted the team, they made clicking sounds in their throats. They're calling others, Trell warned. The infected charged. The team fired, aiming for the heads as Jack had taught them. 2 went down, but the third reached them. One of the Zalaxian officers struggled with it before Grace shot it at close range. More coming, shouted Kevin as a dozen infected appeared from side corridors. Run, Grace yelled. They sprinted toward the science labs. The infected closed behind. They reached the lab entrance and slammed the heavy door shut behind them. Inside, they found signs of a last stand. Equipment was destroyed and blue blood stained the floors. Look. For survivors, said Grace. Kevin checked the computer systems. Most data is corrupted, but I found something about the container. They moved it to Sector 7 for special containment. Meanwhile, Jack's team reached the Mining Administration building. Inside, they found more signs of fighting, but something was different. These marks, Alan said, pointing to the walls. They're not random. They look like some kind of writing. Olivia examined them. It's not Zalaxian script. Jack noticed something on a desk, a small item that didn't look alien. He picked it up. This is a human-made data drive. That's impossible, said Alan. Humans have never been to this colony. Jack's expression darkened. Someone has. They searched the records and found a security log showing unauthorized access to restricted areas just days before the outbreak. The footage was corrupt, but one frame showed a human face. We need to get to Sector 7, Jack said into his communicator. Kevin, do you copy? Static answered him. Then Grace's voice broke through, filled with panic. We're trapped in the lab. Dozens of infected outside the door. They're working together to break in. Hold tight, Jack replied. We're coming to you. As they prepared to leave, Olivia found coordinates for Sector 7. It's a separate facility, away from the main colony. Some kind of high-security research area? An alarm suddenly blared throughout the building. On the security screens, they saw hundreds of infected Zalaxians moving toward the administration building. They know we're here, said Alan. How is that possible? They're being controlled, Olivia realized. This isn't just a zombie outbreak. Something is directing them. Jack checked his ammunition. We need to reach the others, then get to Sector 7. Whatever started this is there. As they prepared to fight their way out, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Not just by the infected, but by whoever had brought the human data drive to this alien world. Someone who wanted this outbreak to happen. The infected began pounding on the doors and windows of the building. The sounds echoed through the halls like drum beats, growing louder with each passing second. Jack led his team through the service tunnels beneath the colony. The narrow passages were damp and poorly lit, but they were free of infected. The pounding of fists against the doors above faded as they moved deeper under the colony. According to the map, these tunnels connect all the main domes, said Alan, studying a small screen on his wrist. We can reach the science labs without going outside. Olivia checked her oxygen levels. The protective suits they wore would filter the air for 6 more hours. After that, they would be exposed to whatever was in the colony's atmosphere. The infected seem to be changing, she said. Their coordination suggests the pathogen is affecting their brains differently than Earth zombies. They hunt in packs, Jack agreed. And they can communicate somehow, that clicking sound they make. The Zalaxian officer with them, named Dex, nodded. My people have no history of such behavior. We evolved as cooperative builders, not hunters. They reached a junction where the tunnel split in 3 directions. Alan checked the map again. Left goes to the science labs. Right leads towards Sector 7. Straight ahead returns to the central dome. Jack considered their options. We need to reach Grace and Kevin first, then head to Sector 7 together. They took the left path and soon reached a maintenance hatch that opened into the lower level of the science complex. Jack pressed his communication. Device, Grace, we're below you. Do you copy? Static crackled, then Grace's voice came through. Jack, we're barricaded in the main lab on level 3. The infected are trying to break through the doors. Stay put. We're coming up. Jack's team moved carefully through the science complex. The first level was empty, but they could hear noises above them, the shuffling of many feet and occasional banging. They found a stairwell and climbed to the second level. Here, they encountered their first infected inside the building. 3 Zalaxian zombies turned toward them as they entered a large room filled with broken equipment. "Aim for the head," Jack reminded everyone. They fired their weapons with silencers to avoid attracting more attention. The infected dropped to the floor, but the team froze when they heard the clicking sounds from the corridor ahead. "They're communicating," Olivia whispered. More infected appeared, moving with purpose toward them. The team retreated to a side laboratory and sealed the door. "There are too many to fight through," said Alan. Jack looked around the room. "We need a distraction." Olivia pointed to the chemical storage. "I have an idea." They created simple smoke bombs using chemicals from the lab. When they were ready, Jack opened the door slightly and tossed one down the corridor. Thick smoke filled the air. The infected moved toward the noise and smoke while the team slipped out in the opposite direction. They reached the stairwell to the 3rd level and found it clear. At the top, they could hear pounding on a door and the clicks of the infected trying to get in. "Grace, we're outside the stairwell door on level 3. We're going to create a diversion. When you hear it, be ready to open your door and run to us." "Understood," came the reply. Jack nodded to Olivia, who threw another smoke bomb at the far end of the corridor. The infected moved toward it momentarily, leaving the door to the main lab. "Now!" Jack called into his device. The lab door opened, and Grace, Kevin, and 3 Zalaxian officers rushed out. They ran to the stairwell where Jack's team waited. Together they hurried down to the lower levels. "Did you find anything about the container?" Jack asked as they moved. Kevin nodded, breathing hard. "It was definitely moved to Sector 7, and I found this." He held up a small device. "It's a human-made data recorder. It was hidden in one of the lab stations." Once they reached the safety of the maintenance tunnels, Kevin showed them what he had found. The recorder contained video logs made by a human man. "My name is Dr. Paul Harris," the man said in the first recording. "If you're watching this, the experiment has gone wrong. I never wanted this. They told me we were creating a defensive bioweapon to protect Earth from potential alien threats. I didn't know they planned to test it here." Olivia looked at the others. "He's wearing a North American Science Consortium badge. That's a private research group that had some involvement with the Denver incident." The recording continued. "The container they found isn't alien. We put it there years ago when we first discovered this colony. Inside was a modified version of the Denver pathogen, engineered to affect Zalaxian biology. It was supposed to be a controlled test, but something went wrong. The infection spread too quickly." The final entry showed Dr. Harris looking panicked. "They're abandoning me here. The pathogen is mutating, becoming something we never anticipated. It's not just spreading through the population, it's creating a network, a hive mind. I've developed a partial treatment that might slow it down, but I need help to complete it. The formula is hidden in Sector 7, Lab Station 12, if anyone finds this. Please." The recording cut off abruptly. "We need to get to Sector 7, said Olivia. "If there's a treatment, we might be able to save some of the infected." Just then, their communication devices buzzed. Ambassador Zendra's voice came through. "Human team, please respond. We have received new orders from the Zalaxian High Council. They have reviewed the situation and determined the risk is too great. They are sending ships to sterilize the colony from orbit. You have 8 hours to return to the stellar horizon." Silence fell over the group. Alan was the first to speak. "They're going to destroy everything? There could be survivors?" "We can't leave without trying to find that treatment," said Grace. Jack looked at each of them. "We have 8 hours. Sector 7 is 2 hours away through these tunnels. We go there, find the formula, and get back to the ship. What if we can't develop the treatment in time?" asked Kevin. Olivia took a deep breath. "Then at least we'll have the formula to prevent this from happening again." As they moved through the tunnels toward Sector 7, none of them noticed the small flying device that followed them, a human-made drone, transmitting everything back to someone watching from a Safe distance. The journey to Sector 7 was tense but uneventful. The facility was separated from the main colony by a kilometer of barren landscape. They reached it through a long maintenance tunnel that ended at a heavy security door. Dahlin studied the lock. It's still operational. We need a high-level access. Code. Dex stepped forward. I have emergency override clearance. He placed his hand on the scanner, and the door slowly opened. Beyond it lay answers, and perhaps their only hope of stopping the outbreak before the Zalaxian ships arrived to destroy everything. Sector 7 was eerily quiet. The team moved through empty corridors with weapons ready, but no infected appeared. The facility was clean and untouched, as if the horror that consumed the rest of the colony had never reached this place. Something's wrong, Jack whispered. Why aren't there any infected here? Olivia checked her scanner. The air filtration is still working. And look at the walls. They're lined with some kind of special material. Kevin ran his hand along the wall. It's blocking signals. That's why the infected can't coordinate here. They can't hear whatever's controlling them. They reached a large laboratory filled with advanced equipment. Station 12 was at the far end, just as Dr. Harris had mentioned in his recording. Olivia rushed to the computer terminal while the others secured the room. How much time do we have? Grace asked, checking her watch. 6 hours until the ships arrive, said Alan. 2 hours to get back to the stellar horizon. That gives Olivia 4 hours to find and develop the treatment. Olivia accessed the computer system. The files are encrypted. Kevin, I need your help. Kevin joined her at the terminal. Together, they worked to break through the security measures. Minutes passed in tense silence. I'm in, Kevin finally said. There's a lot of data here. Research. Notes, experiment logs, and here it is, the formula for the treatment. Olivia studied the information. It's only partial, just like Harris said. He was working on a way to neutralize the pathogen, but he never finished it. She looked up. I might be able to complete it, but I'll need to test it first. We need a sample from an infected, said Grace. Jack nodded. Alan, Dex, come with me. We'll try to capture one of the infected and bring it back. The rest of you stay here and help Olivia. Before they could leave, a noise came from an adjacent room. Everyone froze, weapons aimed at the door. Slowly, it opened. A human man stepped out with his hands raised. He was thin with graying hair and tired eyes. Blood stained his torn lab coat. Dr. Harris, Olivia gasped. The man nodded. You found my message. I wasn't sure anyone would come. You're supposed to be dead, said Jack, keeping his weapon trained on the scientist. I nearly was, Harris replied. I've been hiding here since the outbreak spread. This facility is shielded from whatever signal is controlling the infected. He looked at their faces. You know, don't you? That humans caused this? The North American Science Consortium? Said Kevin. Why? Harris sank into a chair. Fear. After first contact with the Zalaxians was made secretly by our government, some people in power became paranoid. They saw the aliens' advanced technology as a threat. They wanted a weapon to use against them if necessary. So they created a zombie virus? Grace asked incredulously. It wasn't supposed to be like this, Harris said. It was designed to be containable, a demonstration to force the Zalaxians to negotiate. But it mutated, became something more intelligent. It's not just infecting them, it's connecting them, creating a collective consciousness. Olivia turned. Back to the computer. We don't have time for this. The Zalaxian High Council is sending ships to destroy the colony. We have less than 6 hours. Harris stood quickly. Then we need to work fast. I've been trying to complete the treatment, but I've been missing something. He moved to another terminal. I need fresh samples. Jack made a decision. Dex, you and I will get a sample. The rest of you start working on the treatment. Jack and Dex left the facility through a small side entrance. Outside, they could see infected Zalaxians wandering in the distance, but none close by. They moved carefully toward a small group, planning to isolate one. Meanwhile, Olivia, Kevin, Grace, and Harris worked frantically in the lab. Harris showed them his research, and together they began synthesizing the treatment. "If this works," Harris explained, "it won't cure those too far gone, but it might save the recently infected. And if we can distribute it through the colony's air system, it could prevent further infection." Alan discovered something on another computer. "Look at this. There's a record of a ship leaving Nexus Prime right when the outbreak began. Human signatures. The people who left me here," Harris said bitterly. "They wanted to see if their weapon worked. When it got out of control, they escaped." Jack and Dex returned with a sedated, infected Zalaxian. They placed it in a containment chamber where Grace could safely take samples. "We've got company," Jack said grimly. "More infected are gathering outside. It's like they know what we're doing." Hours passed as they worked. The treatment began to take shape. Olivia tested it on the samples, adjusting the formula each time. "It's working!" she finally exclaimed. "The pathogen is breaking down." They administered the treatment to the captured. Infected, the change wasn't immediate, but slowly the gray color of its skin began to fade. The vacant look in its eyes shifted to confusion, then awareness. "We need to distribute this throughout the colony," said Harris. "There's a central environmental system in the main dome." Jack checked the time. "We have 90 minutes before the ships arrive. Not enough time to save everyone." Harris moved to a large console. "There's a way to broadcast a message to the Zalaxian High Council directly from here. We can show them we have a treatment, ask for more time." As they prepared the message, alarms suddenly blared. Security screens showed infected breaking through the facility's outer doors. "They're coming," said Alan. "Dozens of them." Jack made a quick plan. "Harris, Grace, and Olivia will stay to finish the treatment and send the message. The rest of us will hold off the infected." The battle was fierce. The team defended the corridor leading to the main lab while the others worked. Alan was bitten during the fight and sealed himself in a side room to protect the others. "Go!" he shouted through the intercom. "I'll buy you time." Inside the lab, the message was sent. The treatment was ready, but time was running out. "We need to get to the central environmental system," said Harris. "It's our only chance to distribute the treatment widely." They fought their way out of the facility, losing Dex to the infected. With just minutes remaining, they reached the central dome. Harris and Olivia loaded the treatment into the air system while Jack, Kevin, and Grace defended their position. The countdown to the arrival of the Zalaxian ships reached 0. They braced for destruction, but nothing happened. Then their communication devices activated. "This is Ambassador Zendra. The High Council has received your message and the data on your treatment. They have granted a 12-hour extension. Deployment ships are inbound with medical teams." Relief washed over them. The treatment began flowing through the colony's air system. Within hours, many of the recently infected began to recover. The colony would not be completely saved, but it wouldn't be destroyed either. 3 months later, Jack and Olivia stood on the observation deck of the stellar horizon as it prepared to return to Earth. Below them, Nexus Prime was healing. Zalaxian and human medical teams worked together. The worst infected had been lost, but thousands had been saved. "They're opening an embassy on Earth," Olivia said. "The first official contact between our worlds." "Ironic," Jack replied. "Humans nearly destroyed them, and now we're allies." Ambassador Zendra joined them. "Your people have an unusual saying. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. My people never understood this until now." As the ship broke orbit, a message came from Earth. The North American Science Consortium leaders had been arrested. Their plan to create weapons against potential alien threats had backfired, bringing humans and Zalaxians together instead. The stellar horizon accelerated toward Earth, carrying the beginnings of a new alliance forged in crisis, proof that even humanity's darkest nightmares could sometimes lead to brighter days.